Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Kyle is Wonderful here with another wrestling review. This time with New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Japan Road from June 21st, 2022. Excuse me. And wow, we just finished the show and I'm in shock. This is something I pretty much knew was going to happen, and I knew it was going to happen pretty soon, but I still kind of forgot about it, especially with all the news cycle and craziness that's been going on in the wrestling world, and maybe Vince McMahon having to leave WWE and CM Punk getting injured, and just so much news has been happening that it kind of slipped my mind a little bit, and that is Kushida has made his return to New Japan Pro Wrestling. It wasn't that long ago Kushida asked for and was granted his release from NXT, or maybe his contract just ran up and he didn't re-sign. I watch NXT every single week, and I couldn't have been more happy for Kushida to get out of NXT. He was currently in a tag team called Jacket Time with another Japanese pro wrestler, but one that is more of the comedy side of things. So Kushida was in a comedy tag team that wasn't even getting wins or anything. So Kushida getting out of NXT, it was I when I heard that was amazing, and I always knew that he was going to come back to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I knew it probably wouldn't take that long. So yeah, this it's just really good to see Kushida back. That was the big reveal at the end of the show, and I just finished watching the show, so I'm still a little bit in shock. Let me just have a quick drink. Yeah, a great ending to this little mini tour here. A little bit stuck between G1 and Best of the Super Juniors, as well as Dominion, and three of these events were televised. This was night five out of the entirety of this little mini tour, but three of them were televised. You can go on this channel and find my reviews of Saturday's and yesterday's cards. So nights two and nights four were televised. Last night included three amazing matches, so definitely go check that one out. And if you're interested in checking out the New Japan, if you're new to the New Japan Pro Wrestling, you can go on njpwworld.com and watch last night's event completely for free without any sign up or anything. So I definitely recommend going to go check out that card from last night. You can watch the final three matches and then just get a really good opinion of this isn't even the best that New Japan can do, and yet it was pretty amazing. Some of the best wrestling we saw all week, regardless of company. So they were back at it again tonight with two big matches, two big semi-main events. Well, semi-main event and the main event. One of them was going to be for the AEW All Atlantic tournament final. Last night we saw the two semifinals for the qualifiers for the AEW All Atlantic title. And don't forget AEW's cross-promoted show with New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. That pay-per-view event will be this so this Sunday. So we're only about 5 days away from Forbidden Door. We'll find out tomorrow, Wednesday, on AEW Dynamite, who the fourth competitor in the AEW All Atlantic four-way match for the first ever champion will be. But tonight in our semi-main event, we were going to see Tomohiro Ishii go up against Clark Connors, who both won their match last night. And I'll get into that more when we get there. But again, they put down a really good match. I did prefer both of their matches from last night a little bit more than tonight. So, like I said, definitely go check out that free show from last week, or last night, I mean. So let's just kind of get into it. I'm don't really have a whole lot to say about Kushida. I'll get into it more at the end so that we can talk through this whole card and then maybe reassess. But one of the other big news was that we were going to get the revealed of all the G1 uh, order of when they're going to fight everybody. So we got all the cards announced, who's going to be at the first show fighting, who's going to be at the last show fighting. We'll get into that a little bit. It was they told us everything, so I'm not going to go through everything. You can find that on websites, but we'll talk about some of the key things we saw. So let's just get right into it. New Japan Road Night 5. This is from June 21st, 2022. And night 5 of New Japan Road Series sees a second of two nights in Korakuen Hall. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship is at stake in the main event, while the AEW All Atlantic qualifying tournament culminates with the winner of tonight's battle between Tomohiro Ishii and Clark Connors advancing to Forbidden Door this Sunday in America. The G1 Climax 32 cards will also be revealed midway through the event. Uh, so we'll check out and find some of our key matchups. That the biggest news was last night's during the intermission. We got to find out all the blocks. So I'm not going to go through what the blocks are again. I did go through that last night and give my predictions on my early predictions on who would win. We've still got a few weeks before G1 starts, but this is the final event of June. And they will convene a little bit before G1 for I think 3 more shows on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So I'll be back here on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I also do every week I do New Japan World Strong or New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong, which is the American show that they do from the LA dojo. So definitely a lot to look forward to coming up. And like I said, they're gonna have New Japan's gonna have a 2-week break after this event here that I reviewed that just happened, unless they are scheduled for the Forbidden Door. So don't forget the Forbidden Door pay-per-view cross-branded with AEW will be this Sunday, and then 3 straight nights of events on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th, like I said, and then they'll have another about 11-day break until the G1 starts on July 16th. And I don't think it ends until like August 18th. So over a month of grueling G1 action. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely looking excited for it, though. Just a quick note on the blocks. I love that they put all the big guys in the A block. So, like, even the bad luck Fale matches aren't going to be as bad as they could have been because he'll be in the ring with like other big guys just like him. So it's A block is definitely the super heavyweight division block, and then it has Okada in that block as well, which Okada is a pretty big guy. So I'm looking forward to that. We start with the same opening video package when the event starts tonight here, and that we saw on Saturday and yesterday. I still liked it yet last night, the second time through, but by today, the third time over, I didn't really care for it. So let's get into the card. The first match, of course, it's going to feature a young lion. We got Yudo Nakashima versus Doki. We haven't seen Doki in a while, ever since Best of the Super Juniors final. So he had a little bit of break. Doki did have a pretty good showing for himself in the Best of the Super Juniors. And Doki returns to action in the opening bout as he faces Yuto Nakashima. Trending heavyweight, Nakashima will carry a size advantage in this bout with Junior Doki, but with a wealth of experience in some dangerous environments, Doki will be ready to teach the younger man some valuable lessons. That's the little preview they wrote. And yeah, so Doki had a really good showing for himself again in the he just keeps improving and improving. Um, every Best of the Super Juniors, and the highlight of it was his match against El Desperado, his teammate, and that one ended up. That was one of the better matches that I saw in the event out of all the matches, and that was actually a main event that particular night. So after the match, it was a grueling match, but El Desperado beat Doki, and got on the microphone and basically told him like, if you don't take the if this doesn't piss you off that you just lost, then you shouldn't even be here, kind of deal. So giving him some tough love. So uh Doki returns here now, maybe with even more fire underneath him. We shall find out. Just like every event on this tour, the first thing we hear is the Young Lions music every time. We got Yudo Nakashima running out. He's 25 years old, had about 50 matches under his belt, all of them with New Japan. And Doki's now out. The crowd gives him a pretty good response, despite being a heel and part of the heel Suzuki Gun faction. But Doki's been slowly improving. Had a good showing in the Best of the Super Juniors, so the crowd's slightly getting behind him, and he's definitely not as quite as evil or cheating as some of his teammates, such as El Desperado, Tai Chi, and of course Minoru Suzuki. So a little bit on the softer side, which is something that the rest of Suzuki Gun is trying to beat into him to be even more ruthless and aggressive. So the bell rings. This match starts, Doki came out, and then the bell rings. Uh, so we get Nakashima. He starts out fast, but Doki shows off some pretty good grappling here. Um, Nakashima is the biggest of the current young lions, or at least the 3 on this tour that's been going on. And like they said in the little preview, he's trending toward a heavyweight. So he had a little bit of a slight advantage on the weight here against the junior heavyweight. Crowd seem to like both people. Like the crowd will never be against the young lion, even if they're against one of their most popular stars. They just always support the young rookies, which is good to see. And I see a lot of ticking time bomb shirts in the crowd. So Hiromu's going to have a lot of support in the main event later on. We get Nakashima striking looks really good, but Doki's able to counter it. Then Nakashima fires up, but Doki ends up snuffing the fire right out. Uh, Nakashima is too strong for Doki to suplex at a point here, so Doki gets knocked down after a few big moves, kicks out. Nakashima goes for a Boston Crab, but uh, Doki's able to fight out eventually. Then Nakashima drags Doki back to the middle of the ring, and Doki's still able to get to the ropes out of the Boston Crab that he had applied to him. And sorry, on this one, on my notes, every time I wrote Nakashima, I ended up writing Takahashi. So it's a little hard to read this on my notes, but Doki then looks for the his choke maneuver, the submission hold, and he does. So he makes the young lion tap out with the Doki chokey, as some people call it, and Doki ends up clapping for the young lion as a show of respect. So that's kind of what I was talking about as far as like Minoru Suzuki would have beat the crap out of the young lion after winning that match, or even Tai Chi like wouldn't have done that. So Doki is definitely the softest of the Suzuki Gun stable, given clapping for the young lion at show respect. And then Doki goes over to the announce table where we see El Desperado is on commentary tonight. Second night in a row with a Suzuki Gun member doing commentary. Last night it was Tai Chi. And Tai Chi is in the next match, so that's why he's not on commentary again. So the next match again is another young lion. It'll be Rohei Oiwa versus Tai Chi. And the little paragraph they wrote was singles test for young lion Rohei Oiwa and Nakashima, which we just saw, will start the night in Kurgan Hall. Oiwa continued upward trajectory will see him meet the difficult challenge of Tai Chi. After losing his KOPW 2022 10-minute scramble with Shinge Takagi in Osaka, the Holy Emperor will sure to be in a foul mood in Kurgan Hall. Can Oiwa survive? So always a tough test when the young lions have to go up against Suzuki Gun members, other than maybe Doki, as we found out. Doki still won, but he's not going to beat you up after. So we hear the Young Lions music to kick off our second match. Oiwa runs to the ring. He's 23 and he's had about 30 more matches than the last guy we just saw, Nakashima. So almost 80 matches in Oiwa's career. Tai Chi sings himself down to the ring, but no Miho Abe, sadly. She doesn't tend to work these smaller shows, but hopefully, since Tai Chi's in G1, she'll be there all of G1. I really hope so, because I love Miho Abe. It just makes his entire entrance way better. His entrance without her is pretty good still, but with her, it's just one of the best entrances in the world. Um, so yeah, second Suzuki Gun versus Young Lion match in a row to start us out. Oiwa gets a missile drop kick to Tai Chi's chest to start this one out, and Oiwa gets a few more moves before Tai Chi counters it. The Young Lion, and then the crowd is behind the Young Lion. Of course, they don't like Tai Chi. Apparently, they don't like Tai Chi as much as Doki, for sure, at least. And Oiwa tries to fire up, but 5 chops in a row take down the Young Lion. Tai Chi then gets a half crab on, but Oiwa is able to get to the ropes. Oiwa buys himself a little bit of time as he sells his back, and we get a deadlift suplex by Oiwa, showing off his strength, which he's not as large as the last Young Lion in the last match. So really good show of strength there. Tai Chi gets put in the Boston Crab, but he gets to the ropes. Some really good counter attack wrestling, which is my favorite style of wrestling. Good counter wrestling leads to a near fall for Oiwa. Tai Chi then baits the Young Lion in, pulls his tights, hits the finisher, and wins. Tai Chi is backstage within minutes, so he doesn't beat up the Young Lion either, but he definitely doesn't show him any respect, and is already backstage within like 3 seconds. Tai Chi's out of here. He's got things to do. So decent match there. Oiwa is continuing to improve. Uh, our third match, we'll see a rematch that we've seen in. I think they had this match in all. They might have had this match in all 5 of the New Japan Road events here. So all 3 of the ones that were televised had this match. It's Chaos members Yo, Toruyano, Yoshihashi, and Hiroki Goto versus House of Torture members Sho, Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro Takahashi. So this is such a copy and paste match for this tour. They even copy and pasted the preview paragraph, but I'll read it anyway. 2022 started with chaos embroiled in warfare with House of Torture, and the year reaches its midway point with the 2 teams colliding once again. Thoughts are on G1 Climax 32, just a few weeks away, but first, Chaos would certainly relish a win over the Never 6-man tag team champions. So the only difference between this match and the ones that we've already seen on this tour are the fact that we now know what the G1 blocks are. So we can look at the blocks, which I did, and we now know that Goto and Evil will be in the same block, and Yujiro Takahashi and Yoshihashi will be in the same block. So that makes this match a little bit different now that we know who's going to fight who in G1. We get Goto's music, and all 4 Chaos members come out to it, just like every time. Then we get Evil's music, and he comes out with the 4 members of House of Torture. Literally the only thing I'm looking forward to or care about in this match, since we've seen this exact same lineup in the last 2 shows, is I'm looking forward to Yo's fire spot with some really good moves. Yo's been on fire lately, and that's literally all I was looking forward to. Evil does have some great music, though, I'll say. I like it anyway. So an 8-man brawl as soon as the bell rings. We get Toriyano and Dick Togo brawling all the way to the backstage. And then not too much longer after that, Toriyano drags a cage out like I don't know, it looks like the size of like a tiger's cage. You would put a tiger in or something. But Toriyano drags out a cage with a like passed out or hurt Dick Togo locked inside of this cage. So kind of a weird but funny start to this one. The brawling spills back into the ring. We get that 4-man back clobbering move that Chaos has been doing. They do it to Sho and Yujiro, but when they look over at Evil, Evil just looks at him and says, "Heck no, I'm not going over there." And Evil then goes over to unlock Dick Togo from the cage instead. So at this point, referee starts counting because nobody's in the ring. Yoshihashi and Yujiro get in the ring to start this match. As a real wrestling match, I mean. Yoshihashi gets trapped in the House of Torture corner for a while, so he gets isolated. Toriyano gets the crowd to rally behind Yoshihashi, which they weren't really until Yano got him to. Sho's now in, and he hits Yo, who's standing on the apron trying to get in. Former tag partners of Roppongi 3K. Evil tags in, and Yoshihashi's like really in trouble now. He's just been getting beat up this whole match. Eventually, Goto gets the hot tag and takes everyone out, and the crowd loves it. Evil tries some heel tactics, but Goto's able to fight fire with fire, meets him on it, doesn't get taken advantage of. But Evil now, with Sho's help, is able to get hit Goto face first into the exposed turnbuckle. So the numbers game definitely, and the teamwork definitely, along with the cheating, is getting House of Torture in control here. Yo's now in. This is exactly what I was waiting for. So Yo takes everyone out with some really great offense. We get a triple team move on Sho, but he has to get saved by the rest. I mean, where he has to get saved by the rest of the House of Torture. Now Yo looks to put Sho away, but Sho counters twice. But after those 2 counters, Yo was able to get the dragon screw leg whip on Sho. So Yo's looking to get Sho to tap out with the heel hook. And Sho does tap out, but right before Sho taps out, Dick Togo has the referee distracted. The referee does not see the tap out. Now the referee is grabbed by Yujiro, by Evil holds on to Yo, and Sho hits Yo with his wrench to the head and gets the 1-2-3 for the win. So Dick Togo now puts Toriyano in the cage after the match. Evil hits Yoshihashi with his own Monkey King staff. Then Evil hits Goto with his own Shaman staff. And like I said before the match, we now know that Evil will be fighting Goto in G1, and Yoshihashi will be fighting Yujiro Takahashi. So same match that we've already been seeing on this tour, but with a little added flair that we now know that they're going to be fighting. Who's going to be fighting in G1? So Evil says something on the microphone in Japanese, and I'm not quite sure what. The camera shows the never open weight titles right after he said something, though. So maybe Evil just agreed to defend the never open weight 6-man titles against Chaos on one of those July 3rd, 4th, or 5th shows. It's either that or he was just talking about G1, or just maybe it's nothing in general. In the 4th match, we've got Jado teaming up with the unfortunate losers of their junior tag team titles last night, 6-9's Master Wado and Taguchi. They'll be fighting against the two guys that beat them for the titles last night, Francesco Akira and TJP, and they'll be teaming with the only heavyweight in this match, Aaron Henare, who's also in the only one out of this match in G1. So here's a little paragraph they wrote. 24 hours removed from the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships being defended in the June 20th main event, United Empire and 6 or 9 meet again in Kurikan Hall. Will the new champions be lauding their success, or will retaining champs be again showing their supremacy? So we'll figure that one out. Just 1 second. I don't know why that's happening, but I'm just going to assume I'm all right. So now we got the 4th match, and like I was saying, 6-9's now out with Jado. The crowd shows them respect, and you can almost sense from the crowd saying like, "Oh, it's all right. You'll get your titles back. Just keep your head up," kind of thing. Even though they're just clapping, uh, they seem to be in decent spirits after losing their titles, and they get a chance for some immediate revenge here. And United Empire's out. The TJP's music, as I noted last night. Hanare is always cooler when he's not with these two guys. But maybe that's a tactic that NJPW is doing, because clearly Hanare is a heel right now. So you're not exactly supposed to like him, but he does have a lot of cool factor to him. So maybe eventually when they do build him up a little more, then they'll turn him face. He could turn on like these two guys, TJP and Akira, and then have a big match against Will Ospreay at whenever they decide to do something like that. And then you just have him beat Will Ospreay, and all of a sudden, after you've built him up for like a year, now he turned face and he beat Will Ospreay in a match. You've got a new star on your hands. That's how you make new stars. They could keep him heel forever, or like for long. He could be in United Empire for 8 years. We don't know but that's how I would do it. Anyway, both teams are strategizing before the bell rings. Right as the bell rings, United Empire rush the face team, and United Empire lose the opening exchange, however. So faces are able to get on top. Wado and Akira are the ones that remain in the ring, while the other 4 brawl on the outside. Some pretty good junior heavyweight action between Wado and Akira. Your typical fast pace with a little bit of lucha libre, some mat wrestling, catch can. But that's ruined by a sneak attack by TJP. So now we've got Wado down. Akira dives to the outside onto Master Wado. We get that cool double team senton, like a power bomb senton move kind of deal, or an elevated senton, something like that. But United Empire has some really great TJP and Akira have some really great chemistry, and they've developed some really sick double team moves. But TJP puts on that same submission we saw last night, but that's not exactly a bad thing. It completely makes sense that you would want to attack the same areas that you were fighting this guy last night. So you know exactly what you attacked, and you're going to attack it again because you know it's already weak, and you weaken it yourself. So that's cool. Hanari is in, and Waddle's in trouble now, so Taguchi has to come save him. Hanari gets rid of Taguchi, and he tags in TJP. So Waddle then fights back and is able to tag in Taguchi. So definitely Hanari should have just stayed in there. But that's not how match was going to go. So now we get the funky weapon there, Hanare, then to Akira Nakamura tribute spot that always makes me laugh from Taguchi, but TJP is able to kick out of the Boombaye. We had a double drop kick by 629 to uh, both men, but they miss the top. Both men missed the tag. I mean, I don't know what I wrote there. Never mind. Then the double team looked pretty botch. Oh, yeah, yeah. So right in a row, two botches happened. So 6 to 9 try to like do a drop kick to a seated opponent both at the same time, and literally it looked like Master Wato and Taguchi both missed their target. So right after that, then United Empire's trying a double team move, and they kind of botch it. So that was two of the only botches all night back to back in this match here. Then Taguchi, so after that botch, they do hit the double team on Taguchi, but Taguchi's able to stay alive and able to get the Jado. Jado's now in with Hanare, but Jado's unable to do anything to the heavyweight. 6 to 9 come to his rescue. We get a triple team move of kicks, or I mean a triple team move on Hanare, but he's just able to kick out. Then we've got a crossface on Hanari by Jado, but Hanari's able to power out of that. And Hanari has been doing some great striking lately, but some terrible looking punches at the end of this match. Maybe he didn't want to hurt Jado or something, but 3 botches in this match. And some really bad looking punches. So he needs a visit from his new striking coach, former boxer Jesse Vargas, for sure after that one. But then Hanari is able to apply his full Nelson and gets Jado to tap out. And just like last night, Hanari keeps the hold on until the opponent passes out. So Jado's passed out in the middle of the ring, and they pose with the new junior heavyweight tag titles. And Hanari looks more than ready for G1. We'll see if he has any matches on those 3 events leading up to G1. I'm sure he will. Or we might even be able to see Hanari in America. I don't know if he will or not, but we do have 2 different United Empire matches scheduled for Forbidden Door. It'll be the heavyweight tag titles defended by Great O'Khan and Jeff Cobb. And then the ROH titles are also on the line in that match, in a 3-way tag match with FTR and United Empire and Roppongi. Excuse me, Roppongi Vice. So that should be really good. But also, Will Ospreay is fighting Orange Cassidy that night. So that should be cool. All right, and then our 5th match, I thought we were maybe going to go to intermission at that point, right after the 4th match, but no, they're just going to do the intermission and then have the 2 the semi-main event and the main event after the 5th match. So the 5th match, we'll see the other young lion on this tour, Kosai Fujita. He'll team up with Tenzan, Makabe, and Okada, and they'll fight LIJ's Naito, Shingo, Sonata, and Bushi. And here's the little paragraph they wrote. It'll be 8-man tag team action. We'll see the past, present, and possible future of G1 Climax greats collide. Naito, Shingo, and Sonata will all represent LIJ in the tournament of tournaments, while Okada will seek to ease the pain of his IWGP World Title loss with a 2nd consecutive G1 trophy. Meanwhile, Tenzan and Makabe will show the might of the former G1 Climax winners, and young lion Kosai Fujita will show while he'll be part of the summer lineup for many years to come. And I always was thinking that Fujita's more of a light junior heavyweight, but maybe not. Maybe he'll be. But Kosai Fujita is, to me, the prized pupil of the young lions. I think he has the biggest star potential. He's only 19 years old, and he's already had just as many matches as Oiwa at 80 matches. So 19 years old and already has 80 matches in New Japan. And just by watching him, he looks good. He looks solid. So I'm excited to see where he goes on excursion. I would definitely prefer it to be either in America or Britain or something like that, where I could watch it in English. But if he does go to CMLL, that'd be cool too. I know like I was thinking, he might be a junior heavyweight, and I know they like to send a lot of their junior heavyweights over to Mexico for the Lucha Libre. But we'll find out pretty soon, I think. I don't think we'll have to wait too much longer, despite him only being 19. They'll probably wait until he's 20, but I don't know when his exact birthday is. That's something I can look up for next time that we and I'll report back. But yeah, all 4 members of Lij are out to their own music. That's something that's been a common theme throughout this tour. And the 3 Lij heavyweights have all been teaming, but this is Bushi's first time teaming with them on this little mini tour. Bushi's been teaming up with Hiromu against Ishimori and whoever he chooses from Bullet Club that night, and all the other nights. So now that Ishimori and Hiromu are in the main event, Bushi's drafted in here for an 8-man tag. And on the other side, Okada's been teaming up with Okada's been fighting the 3 Lij heavyweights all of this little mini tour with different forms of Tenzan, Makabe, and Young Lions. Yesterday it was only the other 2 Young Lions, so this time it's the 3rd Young Lion on this tour, Fujita, that gets to get a little bit of training from hands-on training with Okada. So the crowd really loves Naito. Naito goes to about 8 different announcers and talks trash to all 8 of them. That was pretty funny. The other 4 men all just come out to Okada's music, unlike Lij. And Fujita seems to be the star prospect for sure. And he kind of looks a little bit in the face and hair like Austin Theory, who's the United States champion in WWE right now, who's also really young and looks like he's going to be one of the great ones. So I wonder if we'll see Fujita versus Austin Theory in a big, huge main event in the next 10 or 15 years. That could be something that happens. You never know. Team Okada here with a fast start. We get a quadruple team, the Shingo. Fujita gets the Boston Crab on Shingo, so they get after the quadruple team. They let Fujita stay in the ring. Does Team Okada, and so the Boston Crab's on Shingo. The crowd goes nuts at this point, and the match just started. Shingo gets out and he tags in Bushi. Bushi's now beating up the Young Lion, and he tags in Naito. Naito definitely looks ready to destroy the Young Lion Fujita. We get some big strikes and a submission hold. Has Fujita in real trouble. And the rest of Lij prevent anyone else from entering the ring. We get Fujita is unable to get to the ropes. So Naito keeps the submission on for a 5 count, even when he does get to the rope. Sonata's now in, double teams from Sonata and Naito. This is all still on the Young Lion Fujita. So Fujita counters and hits Sonata with a beautiful looking drop kick. Bushi tags in and prevents Fujita from tagging out. Then Bushi puts a Boston Crab on Fujita. Lij brawl with the others on the outside, so they're not letting them even get to the Young Lion. Okada breaks free and is able to save Fujita at a point. Then Okada takes everyone out with a little bit of help from Makabe and Tenzan, but it was mostly Okada. And still in as the legal man. Fujita almost gets a pin on Bushi at this point. Bushi hits the spinning neck breaker, like the drift away for a 2. Bushi puts Fujita in the Boston Crab again, and the Young Lion is forced to tap out. So this whole match was definitely more so even than the G1 Climax stuff. It was more about this was some extreme training for Oiwa, both in getting your butt beat, making sure he sells, and all that different stuff. A little bit of triple teams, double teams, quadruple teams as well. So a real clinic and a real training lessons for Fujita in real time in front of a live paying crowd and beamed across the world to people like me and you. So really good stuff overall. Okada gets another night where he gets to rest a little bit. He'll probably rest up until those July 3rd, 4th, and 5th shows, and then he'll be ready for a big G1 run. That is my pick to win the G1. I think Okada will win it again, and I think we'll see Jay White versus Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. And that could change. We still got a couple weeks before the event starts. So we get the 4-man fist raise after this. Oh wait, no. So there was a little bit of stuff before the fist raise and after the match. Naito puts the Boston Crab on Fujita after the match. Then we get a single leg crab from Shingo to Fujita. Then Tenzan's able to finally get him out of harm's way, and Okada gives some tough love to the young lion by yelling at him to get up, but not giving him a hand to get up, making him get up on his own. So I definitely think Fujita is going to be a big star. Now we get that 4-man fist raise pose where where they've been teasing tension between the 3 LIJ heavyweights who are all in G1. But now this is the first time we've seen them do it since the G1 blocks were announced. We found out all 3 of them are in separate blocks. So for them to meet, it would have to be in the semifinals or finals, and they would have to win the block for them to even meet. So a little bit of less tension shown in this one, but Bushi leaves the ring while the other 3 stare down. And no, like last night we saw Shingo act like fake out punch to Naito, but nothing like that tonight. They're a little bit less tension now that the blocks were announced and they weren't in the same blocks. So now we get our intermission. This is time for the announcement for the G1 cards and like the order of matches. So the most important ones are the first ones and the last 2, in my opinion. They're all weighted the same, but it's important to see they usually have like the best matches at the very beginning and the very end. And then B, like those last 2 are important because now we know like what everybody needs or stuff like that. So um I'll maybe go and look and see if I can find that after I do the review of the last 2 matches. But they go through the entire thing here, and basically they go for each card. Looks like it has 4. I don't know if it meant 4 big matches, and it's usually one from each block, A, B, C, and D. I don't know if that means those are the 4 big matches or those are the only 4 G1 matches at that event. So I've not looked into the full things here. I'm just going off of what I saw on the event tonight, but it's either one of the 2, so I'm not quite sure. I can't comment on that. After they gone through a couple of the events, once they got towards the end a little more, then it was up to like 5 G1 cards that they were G1 matches that they were mentioning on each card. So maybe that'll be the case. Maybe it'll only be 4 matches a night, but I hope not. I hope we get more than the 4 matches a night. So I'm pretty sure it will be, but we'll have to look into that as we go here. They didn't really give that kind of explanation. But yeah, the most important thing to see is what is the final match of the block stage. And just like I predicted last night, the B block I felt like was the winner of B block was all going to come down to however the Tamatanga versus Jay White match goes. And sure enough, that is the final match period of the block stage. So I'm guessing everything for B block will come down to that final match, Tamatanga versus Jay White. I love that because that's what I already figured anyway. So if we get some time and if I can find it easily, I might go through some of more of that. Otherwise, I will do a big preview show sometime as we get closer. And who knows, maybe someone might have to drop out injured before we get there. And it could be a big name that we were thinking was going to win. So we'll save our complete preview and predictions to when we get closer. G1 starts, I think, on the 16th of July and ends either the blocks either end on the 18th or the 18th is the finals. I'm not quite sure, but over a month it'll be lasting. So we've got our final 2 matches here tonight on the June 21st New Japan Road Show. The semifinal match will be, or the semi-main event, however you want to term it, will be the AEW All-Atlantic Championship qualifier between Clark Connors and Tomohiro Ishii. After defeating Tomoaki Hanma and Yoshinobu Kanemaru respectively, Clark Connors and Tomohiro Ishii will collide for a spot in the 4-way for Forbidden Door to crown the first AEW All-Atlantic Champion. Both matches on Monday night clearly illustrated how badly both men wanted to be a part of this landmark event Sunday. Who will make it to the Final 4? So here we go. I'm almost more excited for this match than the main event. This is sure to be a slobber knocker after what we saw out of both men last night. Well, I mean, we know what to expect out of Ishii. Clark Connors might be a little more newer to people. He did make his name in the LA Dojo and over on NJPW Strong. And if you watched him in the Best of the Super Juniors just a month ago, you definitely got a respect for Clark Connors as a wrestler. So Clark Connors is out first. One thing to note, there is no time limit, so there must be a winner in this one. And Clark Connors is out first. I love the fact that he comes out in like a cowboy hat and a cowboy vest, but his music is like gangster rap. Really, really, I like that a lot. As someone who likes a little bit of all musics, and I have cowboy outfits. I also have Snoop Dogg jeans and stuff like that. So I like a little bit of variety. Why limit yourself to just one genre of anything, really? But yeah, Ishii's now out. He's all business as usual. There's a definite big fight feel to this. It's not just me that I loved the matches that I saw last night. It's definitely a feeling from the crowd, a feeling from the Japanese announcers, and a feeling from the wrestlers themselves that this is a big fight feel. Clark Connors starts out by trying to match Ishii's strength and striking. We saw last night that was a terrible and the worst idea for Kanemaru, but Clark Connors seems to be a little bit stronger than maybe Kanemaru was, and seems to at least doesn't fail immediately like Kanemaru was against Ishii last night. So this is the second straight night in a row for Ishii against the junior heavyweight. But however, Ishii being kind of on the short and light side of most heavyweights, kind of the same size here again as Clark Connors. I think Ishii's like 5'7" and 220, so he's definitely on the smaller side of the heavyweights as it goes. But Ishii is just a killer in general, the Stone Pitbull. So um, he kind of feels like a 300 pounder that's over 6 foot, if you know what I'm trying to say. But Clark Connor seems to match his strength here and stuff. Connors with some good strikes, but that only fires up Ishii now. So Clark tries a headbutt, but that was a giant mistake. Clark Connors gets hurt more than Ishii on that one. Connors able to gain control again quickly. Now does a bunch of his corner moves that we saw him utilize last night. Clark Connors really likes his corner moves and had some good ones in his arsenal. The crowd is rallying behind Ishii now. They definitely want Ishii to win this match, I can tell. Connors tries to lift Ishii up, but it's blocked. Connors now transitions to a different move, and that works. So pretty cool that it was a really good transition here. And the move was like it kind of almost looked like a botch. It was, but it made it look like it was real life. Like, oh, I couldn't lift you up here. Well, I'll transition real quick and just make sure I get you to the ground, kind of thing. So maybe it was a botch, maybe it wasn't. But again, that's the beauty of pro wrestling. We'll never know. They could always just lie and say, "Oh yeah, I meant to do that." But I like that a lot, that transition. Ishii fires up now with a flurry of strikes into the corner, and the referee actually has to step in since it's on the corner on the ropes. Ishii threatens the referee because of this. Connors is able to keep up with the veteran Ishii both physically and mentally in this match. So really showing some good stuff here by Clark Connors. We get a diving headbutt, but Ishii is able to kick out of that. Then we get from Clark Connors a middle rope spear, but he's only able to get a 2 count. So then we get both men countering each other, and Connors is able to get a shot to Ishii's knee. So if you guys remember from last night, the big story coming out of the Ishii Kanemaru match was that Ishii was definitely got his knee worked over in that match, and it was definitely, without a doubt, going to come into this match with a little bit of a knee problem. Unfortunately, this was the first and I think only time that the knee ever got brought up. So it's like they remembered, but they didn't care. Like, yeah, we'll do a tiny little knee spot here, but I feel like Ishii wasn't ever selling the knee before or after, and it wasn't really being targeted by Clark Connors, which you could excuse that as being, well, maybe Clark Connors is too much of a rookie or youngster that he didn't realize that he should have went for the knee or whatever. Like, but still, it was a little awkward. Uh, Still good match stuff, good stuff here. Dueling Strikes was looking amazing when they did the Dueling Strikes. Big power bomb by Ishii stacks up Connors for the pin for a near fall, but it's kicked out of. Connors is rocked with a lariat from Ishii, but only a 2 count. Ishii motions for the brain buster, but Clark is able to counter. But then a headbutt from Ishii knocks Connors silly before he's able to do anything. Roll up by Clark Connors now in desperation almost for a near fall, the closest near fall so far. Ishii then no sells a German, and Connors is able to quickly get Ishii down with a big spear. One more spear is hit, and Ishii kicks out at like 2.9, and they got me on that one. I thought like everyone went into this whole when they announced the 4 people that were going to compete to go to Forbidden Door. Everybody just assumed it was Ishii when they saw the names, and even I bought on this one where I of course assumed Ishii was going to win, but wow, they got me on this one. I thought Clark Connors won. Again, a nice scoop slam by Connors after this near fall. Tries to hit the side slam that he beat Hanma with last night, but Ishii counters with a lariat. Ishii then gets up, hits the brainbuster for the 1-2-3, your winner, and going on the Forbidden Door in the 4-way for the first ever All Atlantic AEW Championship is Tomohiro Ishii. Really good match. Again, I didn't like it as much as their 2 matches last night. So really props to Hanma and Kanemaru for those were some great matches last night. This one wasn't too bad either. It wasn't even like bad at all. It's just maybe I came into it with a little more expecting more than I was last night. I really wasn't expecting a ton last night. I was expecting more than a lot of people, but because a lot of people just didn't even care about it because they're like, oh yeah, well Ishii's just gonna win, and they threw all these together. So what does it even matter? But I enjoyed these 3 matches that we got out of this mini tournament. It really makes it feel like Ishii earned his way here, and it's not just that we picked him because he was a big name, which is exactly what happened in real life. But you know what I mean. We gave it all a sporting reason. It was still good from Clark Connors. I loved what I see. I wonder when he's going to come back to Japan. He's been over there now for 2 months straight. I think that's probably one of the longest he's been over there. He was in the best of the Super Juniors, and then they had him stay for this little mini tour here. So I wonder when he'll return to Japan. I wonder if we'll just see him on Strong soon again when he comes back to America, or if he'll stay in Japan. So we'll keep an eye on Clark Connors as we go here. I'll keep my eye out for any news on him. I think I do follow him on Twitter, so that's what I like to do with a lot of guys like that, so I can try and figure out what the heck they're doing. Um, if I see them advertising a show they're going to be in England, for example, then I know they're not going to be in Japan. All right, so only got our main event left tonight. It's for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. It'll be Hiromu Takahashi versus Taiji Ishimori. And the singles record between these two is Takahashi has the edge with a 4-2 advantage in singles competition. But in championship matches in singles competition, it's tied at 1-1, which this is a singles match. So this is the rubber match in at least championship matches between the two. And I'll read they write 2 paragraphs for this one. So bear with me on this. Hiromu Takahashi made history just mere days ago when he won his 3rd consecutive Best of the Super Juniors tournament and twice overall. I think they mean 4th. And yet the real work was only just beginning, as Hiromu seeks to convert that trophy victory into the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Hiromu is 2-1 in title conversions of his Best of the Super Juniors trophy, including a win over Ishimori himself at Wrestle Kingdom 15. And when it comes to the Korakuen Hall main event, with an added momentum earned by defeating the Bone Soldier in order to make it to the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors 29 in the first place. So recently fought. Then there was a referee stoppage via his D submission that put him into the Nippon Budokan, the evolved version of a hold that he first created en route to his first Best of the Super Juniors victory in 2018. Appropriately, that tournament final was in Korakuen Hall and was opposite Ishimori, starting a 4-year rivalry full of hard-fought victories and bitter defeats from both parties. Seeking his 5th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship, Hiromu wants the title to be a symbol of NJPW's post-pandemic recovery in the same way that the IWGP Heavyweight title was in 2000s. And for the junior goals to pack out Korakuen Hall tonight. Will the crowd see a new champion crowned, or will it be Ishimori denying the time bomb? So we get an amazing video package, just kind of going over their recent history and setting up this match. Even with it all being in Japanese, it's very enjoyable to watch. So, and then before that, we got the where they scroll through all the former champions, which is just like the best gimmick. I love that you get to see all the former champions on there, whether you like those guys or not, or whether like even the company Maybe they had a falling out with that guy, but they still got to put him on that parade of champions, which I love. Both men make their entrances and just look super focused. So they're out here for business. Hiromu comes out holding the Best of the Super Juniors trophy, his ticket for the title. Ishimori comes out alone, surprisingly. So no Bullet Club backup at the start or at any point in this match. So um, both men just coming down by themselves, and it stays that way. The crowd's super excited for this one. This definitely Hiromu definitely does sell tickets, a lot of tickets. Hiromu is a draw, which is why, again, I thought he was going to win tonight. He was definitely my pick to win. It's just for that kind of very reason. Like the crowd loves him, and they buy tickets just to see him. Like this show is mostly all about him, and almost this whole tour has been all about him. And remember, on the Saturday show was at his hometown where he was in the main event in the tag team match against Ishimori. But yeah, this match starts, the bell rings. We start out with some nice grappling and counterattack wrestling. My exact favorite. Like if all I ever got in a match was great grappling and counterattack wrestling, like I wouldn't need anything more, to be honest. Throw a good work a hold or work a body part, I mean, with a little bit of storyline and call it a day. But anyway, good start. Ishimori bails to the outside. Both men give each other a cheeky smile at that point, and Hiromu will not let Ishimori back into the ring. So uh, Ishimori doesn't freak out or anything. He ends up outsmarting Hiromu by grabbing his arm. And here's the big moment of the match. It happens early. Ishimori gets Hiromu with a big arm breaker on the exposed floor. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't know the exact name of the move, but Ishimori had the arm trapped and extended, and basically flapjacked or face slammed or just slammed on his face and arm. Like basically, it looked like the shoulder was it would be a move where you get the shoulder uh what's the word? Not hyperextended, but dislocated. So right at the beginning here, huge move on the exposed floor, not even on the padding on the outside. And that's the story of this match for the most part. Hiromu has a very hurt arm just in the very beginning here. So um Ishimori works on the arm some more on the post, and then with a chair. Red Shoes has to go to the outside to yell at Ishimori and then check on Hiromu. Red Shoes, after checking on him, goes back in the ring to start his count. Hiromu was able to get in at his 17 count. Don't forget, in Japan, it's a 20 count to be counted out instead of 10 like America. Hiromu tries to buy some more time because it looks like his arm is in bad shape. So setting up that this is going to be the story of the match here. Ishimori is the four C's. Ishimori is confident, cool, calm, and collected. And this match is very much more similar to Okada versus Jay White that we saw at Dominion, which was all storyline heavy. So this match is much more similar to that as opposed to last night's junior heavyweight tag titles, which was, I'm not gonna call it a spot fest, but there was a lot of moves, not much like storyline per se stuff, a very high pace. So the pace is slowed way down in this title match here, and definitely more about the story at the beginning with the working on the arm. And Hiromu's doing a lot of really good selling. Hiromu tries to fight back with only one arm, but every move he makes sends out another yell of pain. Hiromu then gains control with a bunch of innovative offense that doesn't require his arm. So some really cool spots here, almost for a minute long. He just does a bunch of different moves that don't require using his right arm. Missile drop kick off the apron to the outside by Hiromu sends Ishimori flying, but that landing from the apron to the mat hurt Hiromu's arm even more, so he's down as well. They both get back in the ring. Eventually, Ishimori kicks out of a pin attempt. Then Ishimori gets out of trouble by utilizing his speed. Ishimori probably is the better athlete of these two. Um, we get one of those really cool sliding, like a baseball slide out of the ring, but also giving Hiromu a German on his way out. So I always love that move. Then Ishimori gets on the ring and works Hiromu's arm over again. The crowd's rallying behind Takahashi. Um, who tries to throw Ishimori out of the ring, but this backfires, and Ishimori is able to ram Hiromu into the ring post right on the bad arm and like shoulder area. Ishimori then hits a double springboard from the ring to the outside onto Takahashi. So really good match here. We got a lot of stories and a lot of junior heavyweight moves, like really good stuff. Lucha Libre and um, counter wrestling and grappling. The ref starts his count now because they're on the outside. So both men get back in the ring. We get a ton of counters now, too many to even write down. We get a Hurricane Rana countered by Ishimori right into a power bomb. But Hiromu gets right up. And then we get a Canadian Destroyer that looked great by Ishimori. But Hiromu gets right up again and suplexes Ishimori right into the corner. So now both men are down, and this is the loudest the crowd's been all night. We get dueling forearms when they do eventually get up. Hiromu stops selling his arm around this point, so I don't know how you want to try and explain that one away. Maybe the adrenaline or the whatever, or the pain was so much that it went to no pain. It's not like Hiromu was using his arm, but a long way throughout the match, he was holding it and making sure like it didn't even move and like yelling at every little step he took and stuff like that. So at this point, Hiromu does kind of stop selling, which was a letdown because that was like the whole story of the first part of the match. That's really my only gripe with this match, though, and a lot of people can overlook that for sure. But yeah, we get both men were down, and like I said, that was when the crowd got the loudest. Dueling forearms, that's when the selling of the arm kind of stopped a little bit. The forearms last a pretty while, the dueling forearms. Ishimori is getting beat up pretty bad, but stays on his feet. But no joke, 20 forearms in a row by Hiromu Takahashi finally sends Ishimori to the ground. Hiromu waits for Ishimori to get back up. Hiromu slaps Ishimori right in the face. Ishimori responds with a power bomb for a 2 count. Hiromu then gets control right back after that. We got a pinning combo, quickly transferred into a fireman's carry, and then a DVD Death Valley driver hit by Hiromu into the corner. Really cool maneuver and like transfers of moves and stuff. Ishimori then sends Hiromu into the ring post inside of the ring, but to the ring post, bad arm / shoulder first yet again. So going back to the arm here. Then there was a big shoulder breaker to the bad arm by Ishimori. Hiromu does fight back, but Ishimori gets a big crossface with the bad arm trapped. Big submission hold here. The crowd has a biggest ralliest clap of the night again. Here they can sense that Hiromu's in a bad way. Hiromu fights and just barely gets a foot onto the rope to break the hold. So Ishimori then hits a pile driver on the apron. Hiromu is hanging on by a thread at this point. Back in the ring, we get a nice knees to the chest maneuver by Ishimori, but only gets a 2 count out of it. Ishimori then blows his cool finally at this point and shows a bit of frustration. And Hiromu counters whatever Ishimori was going for into a triangle choke, which I think that's the his new submission finisher that he's modified and stuff. Ishimori has too much left in the tank, however, to tap out on this one. So despite being in this triangle choke forever, Ishimori's able to get out. But definitely, he went from having enough left in the tank to now running on fumes. So Hiromu fires up, hits a big lariat, and then he hits the time bomb. And at 9.97 seconds, Ishimori is able to kick out, and wow, I thought it was over. So second time in the night tonight in the final 2 matches, they got me and made me think that the match was over when it wasn't. So Ishimori counters into the same crossface that he had with the arm trapped before. Hiromu's really screaming in pain now. Ishimori lets it go and tries to hit a brain buster, but it gets countered into the stunner. Both men are down for like over 30 seconds now at this point, to the point where Red Shoes has to yell at them. I'm assuming like, you guys got to get up or I got to call this thing or something like that. So we get a striking exchange that ended with 2 more stunners in a row to Ishimori from Takahashi. Hiromu now goes for the finish, but it looked like maybe another time bomb, but Ishimori counters, ends up on the ropes in the corner off of like getting out of the counter. So Hiromu then goes for a middle rope time, looks like a middle rope time bomb attempt, but we get a bloody Sunday off the middle rope by Ishimori. So shout out to Prince Devitt, former Bullet Club leader, by Ishimori. But yeah, the bloody Sunday off the middle rope. Hiromu was able to kick out. But a finisher right after by Ishimori is enough to win the match in just over 30 minutes. And you're still champion Taiji Ishimori. So great match overall. Go watch this one for sure. The storytelling, high spots, moves, kickouts, and submissions are all at like a very perfect ratio in this match. So it's not like the greatest match I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you it was. But just like I said there, the storytelling, high spots, moves, kickouts, and submissions, all perfect ratio of everything. My only gripe was the not selling of the arm at a point by Hiromu, but I know a lot of people can overlook that. I probably can as well. It's not going to make me say it was a bad match just because of that. So again, great match. Props to everybody. They got me again on tonight. I thought Connors won at one point in the match before this, and I thought Hiromu won in this match. So props to those. That's all you can ask for. Um, and like I said, I'm not shocked. I thought Hiromu would win, but I'm not shocked because a lot of people were complaining about Hiromu winning the best of the Super Juniors for a third time in a row, fourth year out of 5. So a lot of people are definitely, at least the internet people are turning on Hiromu. Like I said, those crowds really love Hiromu. They buy tickets just to see him. This entire tour has been the Hiromu show. And he did a good job of selling out these tickets. So I mean, that's what made me think he was going to be champion. But maybe he is better in the chasing role. We'll find out. But Ishimori does retain. I've got no problem with that. Ishimori's a great wrestler. Not too much cheating or anything like that in this match to make you think like, oh, I'd rather a face have it or something like that. So Ishimori or Hiromu gets carried to the back. And Red Shoes is putting the title on Ishimori. While he does that, the camera pans over to El Desperado, who, don't forget, was on commentary all night. Ishimori gets on the microphone, just like everybody, no matter if it was a title match or a 6-man tag. Whoever the winner of the main event that particular night gets the microphone. Ishimori laughs and does the Hiromu Moto, Moto, Moto. So making fun of Hiromu here. And then he yells really loud and scarily right after the Moto, Moto. So Ishimori just acting like a madman here. He says El Desperado's name at least once. He points over to El Desperado. So if you're not a New Japan regular watcher, a lot of times after a big title match, they'll set up the next title match. Not every time, but this looked to be like what they were doing here. It looked like El Desperado was the person that lost to Hiromu Takahashi in the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors. So it would have only made sense that the next in line would have been the loser of the finals. But that seemed to have been a red herring. We could go to that El Desperado Ishimori match at any point, and maybe that will be the next title match. But music starts playing, and before I can even like begin to process in my mind what the music is, I see on the little screen the Tron that they have that Kushida is back, baby. And like I was saying at the beginning of this podcast, I knew it was coming. I knew all about. I've been watching him in NXT. I loved that he left NXT. There was nothing there for him, and I knew that there wasn't really going to be much in the way of him having the weight to come back and stuff like that. So I knew Kushida was coming back to New Japan, and I knew it was going to be soon. But holy crap! Within the last couple of weeks, with all the news that's been happening in the world of wrestling, I pretty much completely forgot, and I got shocked and goosebumps, a true mark out moment. So I even knew that Kushida was on his way back, but I had forgotten just enough for that when that music hit and I saw the old Kushida as a kid jumping on his mattress. I marked out hard. I got goosebumps right now. It's like over an hour later. I've got goosebumps thinking about it now that I'm reliving the moment. So great moment to end the show. Definitely worth a watch. Kushida talks to Ishimori, but then when Ishimori wants to talk, Kushida grabs the microphone away from him forcefully. So Kushida definitely not only wants the title, but looks like he's doesn't like Ishimori at all. Ishimori eventually grabs the microphone and yells at Kushida. The two go head to head. There's a stare down, and definitely wishing there was some. We had Chris on English commentary to give us the live translation of what they were saying, but I will eventually look into what they were saying, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it. But yeah, Kushida is back. He looks to be wanting the junior heavyweight title. He might be the next in line. I'll definitely take that. I guess maybe that right there makes sense as to why Ishimori won this match tonight. They maybe wanted to put the title on Kushida and necessarily didn't want the face versus face Kushida versus Hiromu match. So all of that makes sense. After the head-to-head and stare down, Kushida goes to the back. Ishimori throws his ice bag in disgust. Ishimori is pissed. And then they get the camera pans back over to El Desperado, who also has his hands, despite him wearing a mask, he's got his like hands on his head, and you can tell he's a combination of shock and pissed as well. El Desperado thought he was going to be next in line, despite him, despite anything else. So that's one thing to definitely be mad about, but also be mad about another top rank super junior, junior heavyweight that you're going to have to fight against in your division. So really like all of that. We go to the backstage and Kushida's doing an interview, and then that's when I turned the stream off because I knew it was all going to be English from there on. None of it was going to be English from that point on. So I just wanted to get on so I can give my thoughts on the Kushida. I was still marking it out about Kushida, so I just wanted to get right on the air. But yeah, that's great to see. I wonder when we'll see that match. Maybe we'll see that match at the G1 finals. That's a good match to throw on that card. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll see Kushida wrestling before that. Like I said, I'm not quite sure how the G1 cards are going to go, but I am assuming and I'm hoping it's more than just like the 4 big matches a night that they were announcing. I hope it's more like everybody wrestles that's in G1, and we don't get a ton of like 8-man tags with Young Lions. Like nothing against all those matches, but G1, I'd rather just watch like a lot of the G1s and maybe like a Kushida match here and there. Like, so we'll look into that. I'll preview G1 when we get closer to it. They've got a little New Japan Wrestling's got a little bit of break now, like I was telling you in the beginning. They'll be back for the New Japan road shows and on July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. I'll be here to cover those. But don't forget, a lot of the New Japan regulars will be on AEW Forbidden Door on Sunday. I'll be here to report that. I'll also be here to report AEW Dynamite tomorrow night. So then we'll find out if there's any more matches added, including I'm really hoping that Zack Sabre Jr. and Bryan Danielson gets added. After Dominion, Zack Sabre Jr. did call out Bryan Danielson, but Bryan Danielson has not been on TV ever since then and might be battling an injury. So we don't know how serious the injury of Bryan Danielson is, if it'll prevent this match from happening. That's the dream match. If nothing else happens or goes my way for Forbidden Door, as long as Bryan Danielson is fighting Zack Sabre Jr., I'm a happy man. So that's the dream match for that one. And we might find out other matches as we go. So if you don't follow AEW and you still want your New Japan news, definitely tune into my Dynamite and Rampage reviews. And then I'll definitely be here on Sunday night as well for Forbidden Door. If you follow all of wrestling, I also do WWE, NXT, NWA, and I might be adding MLW soon as well. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get going, and Kushida is back. So really good to see. And yeah, we've got new junior tag team champions from last night are TJP and Akira. But retaining his title tonight is Taiji Ishimori, and winning the little mini tournament for the qualifier for the AEW All Atlantic is Tomohiro Ishii. So congrats to them, and Kushida is back. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys